Thanks very much, Ruth. Look, it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks very much for the opportunity. And thanks to Mr. Parlin for not arriving today. That's why I'm here. Welcome to ByrneLooby. I'm the quality manager for ByrneLooby. I've been with the company for about a year. I suppose I am a fairly good person to talk to all you guys because I get involved with a lot of the different parts of the company. If I talk about ByrneLooby for a start, we were founded in 1998 by John Byrne and Michael Looby. They were geotechnical engineers that worked out that the company they were working for didn't pay them what they thought they were worth, and they went out on their own. So they've been around for 21 years now. I think they're still, the beauty of ByrneLooby is that they are still involved, very, very much so, involved in the day-to-day project work that ByrneLooby does. This kind of makes us a little bit of a boutique kind of firm. We are very, very involved, and our senior people are very, very involved. We're not like one of the big design firms where you're going to be dealing with, or as recruits, you'd be working at a very low level, because we're not the greatest or not the biggest company around. The exposure you'll get to projects will be very many and varied. You will be able to work not just technically, but also with clients. There will be an opportunity to be exposed to the project management, the management of the client, management commercially, and that's because we are a fairly small outfit. That doesn't mean that we're only in Ireland. We have 13 offices around the world. We did start in Dublin, and we have 2 offices in Cork, 1 in Galway, Belfast. We also have offices in the UK. We've recently just acquired another office, another company in the UK, and we also have offices in Bahrain and Dubai. So, as well as being a small company, we're very geographically dispersed around the world, and this also provides us as engineers with the company with a really good exposure to many different types of projects. We do have, one of the reasons we're here today is to kind of advertise ourselves as being actively recruiting. You can see here on the screen behind me that we do have our website, the page that you need to go to if you want to see what vacancies are available is this careers page. We do have a current vacancies page on here as well, and you can also see from this that, if I scroll down a bit, we are recruiting in most of our offices around the world. I'd encourage you to go and have a look at that later on today or whenever you can. But I think what's also important is that the careers page also includes many of the other things that you will benefit from if you come to work with ByrneLooby. We do have a number of really exciting benefits. One of the things that we've just implemented at the end of last year was LinkedIn Learning. Our managing directors, John and Michael, are very, very keen on development of the staff within ByrneLooby. And LinkedIn Learning is kind of it's actually the leader in the pack of training, development, and for technical improvement of your knowledge. So what else I can talk about, as well as our success stories and the other things that come along with working with ByrneLooby. One of the other things a couple of the other things I can talk about today. These are the kind of industries the industries that we're involved in doing work for. We are a design engineering consultancy. Our main thrust is geotechnical, civil and structural engineering. We have been involved, as you could see with the home page, we were involved in, and that's not there, I just might go back to that one. That's a fairly recognisable building worldwide. That's the Shard in London. We were involved in the design of the foundations of the Shard. And I suppose this kind of takes us to how important the work that we do is. If you want to build a building, you need something for it to sit on. You need foundations. And that's the main focus of geotechnical engineering, I suppose, but also of the work that we do. As well as very tall buildings like the Shard, there are, as you can see on the Dublin skyline at the moment, there are a lot of cranes on the skyline. All of those are buildings being built, and all of those buildings need foundations. And we do that design of those foundations, piling. So we do have, around the room here, there are some esteemed companies, and they are our clients. So, I mean, what we can offer you is we do get involved, and we are exposed to a lot of this heavy civil engineering, a lot of building works. There are projects which are, continuing, I suppose, at the moment, like Crossrail in London. There is work on a lot of the other rail schemes that are going on in the UK through our UK offices. We are also involved in, again, these large data centre constructions that also need serious foundations. There are a number of those particular projects that we're working on as well. I suppose what we can also do is just talk about the clients that we work for. We do have a number of, they're very, very famous clients. One of the biggest jobs that we're working on at the moment is for BAM contractors. And they are working on, you've probably seen it in the news, the National Children's Hospital. We have designed foundations, basements for the Children's Hospital, which are currently being constructed at the moment. And that's obviously, that's a huge, huge project. We do work for, famous piling companies, PJ Edwards. A lot of the contractors around this particular expo would know of contractors like PJ Edwards. Whenever there is a building needs to be constructed, PJ Edwards will invariably get involved, and that means that we will do the design for them. We're also, each of our offices, and I can go to where all our offices are. You can see there that we have our offices in Ireland and the UK, and then Dubai and Bahrain. If we go through each of the offices' expertise, the Dublin office is divided into two, really. It's the main geotechnical engineering office and the water division as well. I've just mentioned some of the geotechnical projects that we're working on, but for the water division, we are working with Irish Water. And interestingly enough, this past week, the Blanchardstown drainage scheme has just been signed off and will hit the ground and start construction very, very shortly. We're designing, but we're also project managing that particular contract, and that's in excess of 50 million euro. We're also working on the Arklow wastewater treatment plant. That particular project is in its planning stages at the moment. Arklow, interestingly, is one of the largest towns in Ireland that doesn't have its own treatment plant, and so that's a very, very important project for the country. If we move on to some of our other offices and some of our other areas of expertise, our water division is divided between Dublin and Cork. And so most of the projects that the Cork office undertakes is in the water industry for Irish Water, for example, and the Office of Public Works. Our Cove office is where our Irish marine engineering is based. It's a beautiful place down there in Cove, and the guys down there are working on many, many different projects in the marine sphere. If we go to the UK, there are a number of things that we do in our Belfast office. We are working on a number of different wind farms for them. So you can see that we're fairly diverse, and there is quite a varied interest in what it is that we do. and obviously, you know, talking about water treatment, talking about wind farms. These kind of pieces of infrastructure are really important as we inevitably become more and more focused on the environment. And that kind of brings me to our environmental engineering arm, which is based in Bahrain. What I do want to make sure of, that you're not kind of thinking that if you come and work with ByrneLooby that we're going to move you off to the Middle East or something like that. The way that we work is we are all connected. You will find different engineers in different offices working on different projects that are based in different countries. And this to me is fairly exciting, you know, that we do have the technology nowadays to meet over Skype for business. You know, we do have, our network is able to cope with the, you know, pretty serious computing programs that we need to use to design all of these projects. But also, you know, there are differing elements in all of the projects that we work on. And so if there is a construction going on in the UK or in Ireland, and there needs to be some kind of environmental impact assessment done, then we do have the expertise to do that. We're also pushing into Saudi Arabia at the moment. There is a lot of work going on in Saudi Arabia, and that's really interesting. And also, what's not shown on our website at the moment is that we've just acquired another company in the UK who are interested mostly in waste management, landfill design. Again, these kind of things we're moving into the environment, and because of the focus on basically everyone in the world of the importance of managing our environment, these are really exciting developments for ByrneLooby. I can take you to the projects page. Please don't hesitate to visit ByrneLooby.com whenever it is you can, because there is a wealth of information on the projects that we're undertaking currently, things that are actually finished or currently working. And you can see that there, you know, just the very first page here, there are some fairly famous buildings that we've had a hand in construction, in design and construction. Most people will recognise the Titanic building in Belfast. Obviously, we talk about the Shard, and one of my personal favourites is Crossrail in London. I also think that you know, as well as what we are doing, what I didn't mention actually is that one of our offices in London is heavily involved in conservation engineering. There are architects as well as conservation engineers. One of the big stories recently was the burning down of the bank buildings in Belfast, and ByrneLooby, or one of our offices, is working on assessing that and how to properly repair that, assess the damage. And you know, for a famous building like that, it's important to have somebody who has the expertise to do that, and that's where we come in. So you can see that there is quite a large variation in the things that we do. As well as, I mean, I didn't mention things like temporary works. If we just have a look at the stuff here. One of the big things, and this is something that I actually had, well, I was working on a job very, very close to this one. Again, thinking about, I mean, the best way to kind of talk about this one, I suppose, is this job here is almost like recycling. This is an old, as you can see there, tunnel for rail built in 1878. Instead of making a brand new one, the option and Crossrail themselves decided that they were going to repair it so that the new trains could actually run on that same alignment. Our office in London was involved, working closely to replace the brick tunnel, and it actually was seen as a massive, and it was a huge program saving and a financial saving for the client. So these kind of innovative solutions are what also ByrneLooby are becoming well known for. I don't know, I'm just not sure about what the time I've got. We, as well, I'm just thinking about what else I can talk about at the moment. We can go into further detail about the different expertise that we have, but that there, I mean, I won't go into too much detail on into each of those specifically. But you can see there that there is quite a range of work that we are undertaking at the moment. Oops. Let's just have a look at some other featured projects here. This is a project here that our Cove office is undertaking currently. It's there you go, one of Ireland's largest contaminated land remediation projects. This kind of thing is our bread and butter. And again, we're working for one of the famous Irish contractors, PJ Hegarty, working with them, designing on their design and build contract, a 2-layer natural armour stone revetment to protect from erosion. Well, we also don't think that we just get involved at the beginning of a project in terms of designing the project itself. What we've got here is our temporary works projects. This is a really good example of how we can get involved with the actual construction of the job. There is a lot more obviously going on site, then we're not based on site all the time. We do manage contracts. There is plenty of work to be done throughout the life or the construction period of the project, and that's where temporary works comes in. Temporary works is extremely important. Lots of people don't appreciate or see the word temporary and don't place the required amount of emphasis on it. But it's absolutely crucial in the life of a project. Temporary works can, if they're not designed properly, can lead to not just serious health and safety incidents, but elongation of program, and then excess money being spent. So with our temporary works team, you'll be exposed to some pretty high spec kind of work. Under a fairly pressurized kind of situation. So even though we're not based on these construction sites most of the time, there is always an opportunity for our engineers, project engineers, to visit and get to grips with what's going on. I don't know about you guys, but if I was doing design, I'd really want to go and see how my design is being put into practice. And so we're encouraged to get out there, see what it is that we're building, what we've designed and what's being built, and that I think is a really important part. I mentioned it just before. I think on these projects, because we aren't massive, we're not a really big multinational like some of the other design firms. But what you will find, and what our clients do really like, is that there are really senior people who are involved in each and every project. So you will, if you are somebody who, if you're starting out in the industry, you will be exposed to some, very, very high demand engineering, and you will be, probably dealing with the client. The client is obviously the reason we're here. We do need to make sure that they're happy and we are meeting their requirements. But I do think that because there are small teams, small specialist teams, which is really important to note, that you will have that really good exposure to a number of different, really exciting engineering. I think really that's all I wanted to say at the moment. But what I would encourage you to do, if you don't have any comments or questions or anything right now, I'd really encourage you to go down. Our stand is on the left over there, further down. If you want to speak to our recruiting guy, Tom, and our HR manager, Sharon, they'll be able to help you with any kind of queries you might have about working with ByrneLooby. We're really keen to get some of our really new, good, young talent in. And I really do think that, and I would say this anyway because I work for ByrneLooby, but it's a really exciting time for ByrneLooby where we are continuing to grow. We do acquire companies when it is that we see that they're attractive, and you are going to be exposed to some really interesting stuff, and you're going to put your knowledge into practice, and you're going to enjoy it. So really, thanks very much for the opportunity. It's great to speak to you, and if you've got any questions, now's the time, or you can just come and speak to us at our stand. So thanks very much.